Hey guys, I wanted to make a video on like the symptoms of semen retention that might be coming up for you. I feel like the divine takes me on all these different journeys and down these different paths just so I can learn about them and share about them. Because that's my dharma, is just to share about my direct experiences. And one important thing about semen retention that I feel like is worth noting is that it's gonna pull up your deep, dark subconscious. You might be doing semen retention or retaining your sexual energy, and you might be like starting to feel all this darkness coming up within you. You might be starting to kind of get lost in these beliefs of I suck or I'm bad, or you might feel flooded with shame all of a sudden. And this is because when you start retaining your sexual energy, it's going to bring forward the deep, dark subconscious. It's going to bring forward any repressed energies in your body, much like a spiritual awakening. And if you're on a spiritual awakening or a Kundalini awakening, and you're also doing semen retention, it's just going to amplify the process. It's going to amplify the purging and the releasing of your subconscious wounded aspects. So, yeah, I remember yesterday it brought up such immense darkness in my field, and I was like, whoa, this is so dark. This stuff is it's like nightmarish dark. And it's important to remember when this is happening that this is going to pass, that this is coming up and out. Like the semen retention journey is helping you to clear these energies. And if you can kind of hang in there and not identify with the content that's coming up, not identify with the deep, dark subconscious material that's coming up, if you can just, do your best to stay connected to your spacious nature and just kind of allow this material to move through you, you'll notice that on the other side of it, you're going to feel a lot lighter. You'll feel much more positive in a sense. Like you won't have so many dark thoughts. Like for a while, as this deep subconscious material and content is clearing, you're going to have some really dark thoughts. You might even feel some rage, or some old repressed memories might come to the surface of when you got really hurt or really traumatized by someone else. You might feel all this anger out of nowhere towards them. You might even feel this urge, like, I need to reach out to this person and express something to them. And I would say, like, hold off on that. Hold off on that until this layer of repressed trauma from your subconscious that's been just buried there, until that layer has passed through and you're in a more balanced state. And then if it's true to still reach out, okay, go for it. But you might have, when you're doing semen retention and stuff is coming up and clearing, you might get all kinds of impulses in the moment. But I would say just kind of let it pass. Let yourself come back to a homeostasis. Because these are really big energies. And they're gonna be really gripping for the mind. Your mind's gonna really want to latch on to these things. Like you might even be having some very vivid dreams. It's like when you're doing something as profound as semen retention, it's going to be a 24/7 process, and you might even notice you're clearing memories and stored up trauma and pain in your dream state, and the dreams might feel really real, and you might remember them very clearly. It's like so much gets unearthed in this process that was once, like I said, very buried within you. And so it's important to kind of try to stay grounded the best you can, because you're going to have really volatile emotional swings and energetic swings. You're going to go from this place of feeling so much shame about yourself You're going to be in such immense darkness. You're going to feel like it's just going to be forever. You feel like, what's going on here? And then maybe the next day you're going to go on this, kind of ride where all of a sudden you feel, because you've cleared a layer of the subconscious, you're going to feel more free than ever. You're going to feel so much light and more spaciousness. But you might even sense like an inflated sense of self coming online. Or it could even feel a bit manic because there's just so much more energy in your body now. And so it's important not to get lost on either of the spectrums, not to get lost when it's super gnarly and a lot of darkness is coming up, but to just stay centered and to not identify with anything coming up, but just to simply let it pass, to simply be with the difficult feelings in your body, because that's a big part of this. It's going to bring up sensations within you that are going to be really hard to be with. But it's also important not to get pulled in by this like inflated sense of self that might come online, which is also where the ego can kind of make something of this whole journey. Like, whoa, I'm this person now. It's like we want to stay grounded through the whole process and try to remain centered. And it's going to test you. You know, this process is going to test you. It's going to push you to your limits, and it's going to at times be really difficult because there's going to be so much energy in your body, and your body's not used to it. Your body's not used to this much energy. Your nervous system, it's going to take time for the nervous system to adapt to being able to hold this much of a charge. You know, when you're retaining your life force energy, that's a lot of light. This is this sexual energy that we're retaining. This is the force of creation. This is a massive energy. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to work on cultivating spaciousness. You can do this through meditation, maybe some yoga. Nature will help. Anything that helps you to put your attention anywhere else but the mind and the thoughts. Because when we're in mind and when we're in thoughts, it's really a small reality to live in. It's like the egoic shell. And when you have this much energy coming up in your body and coming online, when you're doing semen retention, and you're in this small egoic shell of thought all day, it's going to feel suffocating. It's going to feel like overwhelming. And then you're going to be kind of led by the energy. You're going to be kind of led by your impulses. And this actually process is about awakening out of your impulses, awakening out of your subconscious programming. This process is truly about becoming free, of moving from fear, of moving from lack. This process for me, because it's a very spiritual process, it's a very divine process, it's actually about connecting more deeply with who we truly are, with our higher self, you could say. This process is about letting the higher self start to move us. And so it's important, I feel, to be doing semen retention or retaining our sexual energy, to be doing it for a higher reason. You know, when I first wanted to retain semen years ago, it was all about getting what I wanted on an egoic level. Oh, I'm going to get the girls, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to, whatever fantasy I had in the mind about what I wanted, what I thought I wanted on an egoic level. But you can only get so far with this kind of practice with the ego, with will. I'm noticing that it's really necessary for the divine to come in and to do this for you, because willpower and kind of ego desire is not enough when it comes to something like this. So if this is really true for you and you're feeling overwhelmed by it, but you know this is your path, that I think the easiest way to go about this, or the best way to go about this, is to surrender your life to something greater, to surrender this process to something greater. And that will actually help you come out of the small self, the egoic mind, its desires, because its desires are very superficial and never ending. And this might help you reorientate to something much more deeper and profound, like the desire to know God, the desire to know yourself deeper. And that might really help you. And that might really help you with the strong impulses that come up. It might really help you cultivate the spaciousness necessary as the deep, dark subconscious comes up to be seen and released, or you could say to be seen and transmuted. This is a very alchemical process. You're gonna go through a lot of emotional swings, a lot of turbulent energies. It's just built into the whole path, is what I'm noticing. So you're gonna have to be anchored into something really powerful to continue to go through it in a way that's grounded and centered. So whatever that is for you, it doesn't have to be God. It could be the universe. It could be peace. You know, finding something that's just beyond the mind, beyond the small self, to really plug into during this process is going to be immensely beneficial for you. And it's going to help you go through the really difficult times, the really challenging times. This path is an initiation unto itself, into the divine. If we're kind of doing it right, you know, if we're aligned with truth on a deep level. It's like this can be something that can really assist and kind of accelerate your journey. But it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this, you know? And finding, you know, finding the truth. This path is all about truth, just like any other path. It's all about aligning deeper with what's real and what's really important in this life. Like what's really important about this life. And in my opinion, in my feeling, it's the most important thing about this life is coming to know reality in a deeper way. It's coming to know God. It's all about becoming one with what is. All right, that's the video. Thanks for your guys' support. Thanks for joining the Patreon, the donations. It all means so much to me. See you in the next video. Namaste.